All right, welcome back. It is July 22nd, 2020. We are returned to the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. And our client today is TV shows versus the movies. What
Dun
the
dun
hell does
dun.
that mean?
Well, I was thinking about this client because I've noticed in my lifetime, TVs have kind of surpassed movies as far as like adult good drama. That's popular. There's still a lot of great little indie films. They rarely like even make it to your local, theater. If you they're on cable a lot and they're small. TV has major blockbusters that are really like Sopranos, The Wire, in the past 20 years. All these great shows, Breaking Bad, they're better than anything the movies are dishing out, I think. But when we were kids, TV was just a morass of shit.
I
I
don't know if you
mean,
can compare. I
there's
mean,
barely anything on TV.
obviously those shows are really good shows, but you can't really give a good comparison because they're given the latitude of full seasons or even multiple seasons to really flesh out the storylines. I mean, it's great that the quality is upped on those, and there's certainly plenty of examples of great TV shows, but it's rare. I think it's because of that format that things have been able to get better.
Well, Roots wasn't that good, and Rich Man, Poor Man. Remember those miniseries when we were kids? They had the latitude to tell a long form story. It's a great idea, just that in itself. That
Well, Roots was like a groundbreaking
it
thing.
was groundbreaking, but
Yeah.
it's really not great cinema. Have you watched it again? Do you ever want to watch it? It was important sociologically, historically, for us to learn our history. But it's
Well,
not like this
it's funny.
great film.
I remember when Roots came out because we did watch it when we were young. Because
Oh,
again,
everyone
back
did.
then there was what, four channels, and I remember like as a kid the one scene where the woman spits into the guy's coffee or something like that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I was like relaying this, and I think it was like around 10 years old when Roots came out. Relaying this to my 80-year-old aunt who happened to be there. And she's like, of course, all you little kids are going to be stuck on the fact when she's spitting into the mug. She didn't really talk like that, but I just thought that's my old lady voice.
That's the
That's
old lady
horrible.
voice.
That's right.
If
I
she's a
remember
robot old
remember that
lady.
particular, right, that particular aunt. She had like a bobblehead thing too. So
I don't think they're spitting in the coffee.
I love that scene too. I think her name was Sissy, the character. That was Sissy did that
yeah,
to Sandy
I think
Duncan's character.
there's like 5 or 6 scenes that I think recall from that miniseries. But anyway, along the way there have been other kind of groundbreak. Remember the program Holocaust that was on television way back when? That was the first time I'd ever seen full frontal nudity in a network television show.
But weren't they like concentration camp survivors?
Yeah,
You
but
don't really
still,
want to see that nudity.
I know, but it was actually seen on network television.
You
They
never watched the
showed.
What
National
was that?
Geographic specials where they show naked people in Borneo and stuff?
What?
On like PBS, they'd show
I know,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
different. That wasn't white folks.
emaciated, starving white folks.
Right, that's how
So
they got away with it, is they
Yeah.
used some weird,
it
I don't know, equal rights thing. I don't know.
tribal. There's some sort of tribal clause. If you're not part of a first world economy, then you can run around naked.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
knows
you're
how it was just. I'm sure it's probably something stemming out of Jim Crow or from,
third world tits aren't obscene. That's what it is.
I don't
The
know.
obscenity statutes say that.
And now it's like, that's something that could get you fined from the FCC if you had something similar on network television.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
But
think.
I
I
think it is
think.
an important. Oh, continue.
I was just going to say. I think. I don't remember Roots at all, and I'm sitting here listening to you guys going, "Why don't I remember that?" I'm sure I watched it, but nothing in the noggin.
well,
But there
what's your
were.
actual age, Brendan?
I'm 51.
Okay, so you're 3 years younger than me. At the time, like I said, I was around 10, so you would have been around 7 years old. So it might not have been that meaningful, but I also was raised in a family that was Jewish, and so we had a little more connection to um, discrimination because of that. And I think that's probably may have been more interesting. Or maybe your family life just sucked, and they didn't want you watching anything of importance. I don't know.
I think my mom was
That's
just mostly smoking territons and watching MASH.
Okay, well, MASH is a great television show too.
But
Great though compared to what we get now. It was great for its time. Yes, it was a good
yeah,
show.
that's. But what I'm saying is, it's almost like we're saying, that there was these amazing television shows that broke ground at their time. MASH, All in the Family was
Right.
pretty groundbreaking at its
Oh, definitely.
time,
Yeah.
and there were others.
Hill
And
Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues is another good example. Um, but but are the current television shows that are really great just one building on that groundbreaking stuff? So television is progressing in its art form, whereas movies are digressing in their art form. And is that about economics? Because now, there's a lot of competition in TV. Back then, you either watched MASH or Roots, or you went to bed.
Yeah,
Three's
or
Company.
whatever was on, the fuzzy channel on UHF that you would like move the antennas around to try to get a signal
Yeah.
and go, I think I want to see this, and then it's like Johnny Sacco and his flying robot, and not
But the
necessarily what
majority of
was on.
stuff was the Donnie and Marie Fun Time Hour and Happy Days, like utter dreck, Charlie's Angels. Like that was 90%. It was pretty unwatchable unless you were 8. Like any adult, I can't believe adults had to watch that shit and did. Because they did. They were number one shows.
So
Right.
But
there
now,
was
yeah,
there was something about them that made them number one shows, or was it
yeah.
just that everything competing against them was even worse?
Well, for the most part, people like dumb shit. I mean, look at top 40 music. The things that are popular usually aren't the smartest stuff. But
Well,
now there is these
60 Minutes is
options.
always like the top of its slot for like
That's a
30
good news
years.
show, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all these shows we're talking about at the time, none of them were even close to the best movies. And these movies were number one. Like Taxi Driver was a huge moneymaker. Deerhunter, these great films. Like, yeah, the best episode of MASH.
What are your only
You'd
favorite
rather be
movies
in
are
the movies.
Scorsese movies, Greg? Is that why you said
Deerhunter is
Taxi
not
Driver? Oh,
Scorsese.
let's try this. Michael Cimino.
Yes, no, there was a lot of great movies back then. The Godfather. Like the best thing on TV,
Oh,
you'd
so it's
rather
all
be at the
Italian.
movies.
It's all Italian associated
Hey,
movies.
what's
Hey,
the matter with that? Hey,
Deer Hunter, Cimino, and also like was it De Niro? Had his,
apparently
well, De
we were
Niro's
the
in
best
Taxi Driver.
directors. My people were
Godfather
the best at
also
this.
had De Niro in it. I think it's basically coming down to like you only like movies with De Niro or Christopher Walken in them.
Any Italians in it. Yeah, that's all I
Italians.
want to see.
You could
Roberto
probably just watch
Benigni.
a movie that was like the documentary about spaghetti, and you'd be like, "I'm good. This is all
Oh,
I
hell
need,
yeah.
really, for a movie."
Roberto Benigni is my all-time favorite actor of all time.
Roberto as
He's so
Pinocchio.
cute as anything. He could play Mussolini in a film. I'd watch it. It'd be
He would
great.
be like Charlie Chaplin playing Mussolini in a film if he did that.
Yeah, like the great dictator.
Right.
But I think back then, now there's so much shit that there's no movie out there that I'd rather see than the newest season of like Better Call Saul or, back in the day, The Wire, Breaking Bad. All these shows were way better than anything that movies were offering me.
Well,
And
definitely
not just because the long form,
Well, I
even
mean,
just one episode at a time.
Sopranos kind of broke the mold.
It did.
Um,
That's what started the whole ball rolling.
yeah, I mean, there were a couple of shows before The Sopranos that kind of got that ball rolling. Like Oz was one of
Yeah.
those shows, but again, that was because HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, those channels were able to not be stuck within the, I guess, the censors that network television have, and I think that may be a large part of it. What do you have to say about that, Greg?
I think it's true. I mean, definitely not having censorship.
I'm
But
gonna
even Nate,
always like come to you right when you're muting yourself.
that's
So
okay. I'm quick. Then nobody would have even noticed if you didn't say anything.
I'm
But
just gonna
I
every time from now on though, I'm gonna just ask you a question as soon as I know you're muted.
well, that's definitely a part of it. It's like TV was neutered. I mean, you couldn't even talk about anything real. You couldn't
Yeah.
even have people in the, oh, people don't go to the bathroom. People don't have sex. It's like,
Well, you mentioned in
really,
a conversation you and I had the other day, where we both watched this TV show Hannibal without realizing it was a network TV show,
yeah.
but it was dealing with incredibly visceral, grotesque images
Hmm.
and subject matter, but it was really a really well made show, which is
Yeah.
unusual for network TV, and I think that's maybe where the dividing line is the really good ones don't necessarily come from major network stations. They come from the
Definitely.
cable stations.
But I think network's upped its game. Network
Well,
TV,
other than
because of this.
Hannibal, what other show would you say has that same gravitas to its storylines?
Okay, I haven't watched many TV shows in the past 10 years, network shows, but definitely the comedies are way better. They're way funnier than the
On
shit we
on
grew up with.
on network
I've seen a few,
television?
like Parks and Rec, I think is way
Okay.
better than any comedy I grew up watching. And then also, even some of the dramas I have seen in the past 20 years, 15 years, like just, I know this sounds ridiculous, but Alias with
Uh-huh.
Jennifer Gardner,
Yeah.
it's an action show. It's basically a superhero comic show.
Yeah.
But it was like way more kick ass than anything I grew up with. Like that was like each episode was like a great action film. So I'm not saying it's like adult serious drama, but it was really well done for TV as far as if you like a kick ass action movie with characters that you give a fuck about. They weren't just cardboard cutouts. You actually, they were decent characters, but it was pretty cinematic. Meaning like the movies, they can have more spectacle and stuff. So it just seems like TV is up to its game. They would have never done that. They didn't have the money to do it. They realized they had to compete with cable, maybe, but maybe they just realized, hey, American people don't want to just watch stupid shit on TV. It was a realization.
Well, I think a large part of it comes from the sponsors too. So the sponsors have a lot of control on the purse strings, whereas if you're dealing with cable, people are spending money on those channels directly, not through advertisers.
Yeah,
So they know what their own subscribers want because they get the money from them and they
yeah.
see what people are paying to go see, like Game of
They
Thrones or what
they
have you.
definitely have a lot more latitude, and that's why the best stuff on TV is on cable. Probably, if you put all the best shows, I'm sure they're
You know what?
not on network TV.
So then you have to look at the movies. Then
An
are the
interesting.
movies you're talking about are strictly big screen movies or movies that are on cable? Because the movies on cable are getting better too.
I don't know about that.
Well, why
I think
don't
there's
you?
a lot. Well, okay, like even like not even the '70s. The '70s to me is a golden age of cinema, and but then I think even the late '90s there was this renaissance where like movies like B and John Malkovich, Boogie Nights, they were kind of big movies. They weren't just like just playing at the local art house. They were playing in mall theaters, and they were really like serious adult movies about real interesting shit. They would be made like every 3 months. There was a decent movie coming out, and that seems to be gone. Like when I go to the movies now, I go like twice a year. Every coming attraction is for a toy movie or a superhero movie or a sci-fi franchise movie. You won't see one movie that's like basically geared for someone over 14.
What
They're all
about
like,
Right.
First Blood Part 5?
yeah, well, yeah, that is probably more skewing adult because most kids don't even know what First Blood is. They'd be like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, it's not that smart,
I
maybe.
think Brenda keeps trying to say something. We keep
Sorry.
No, it's
interrupting.
totally fine. I'm enjoying the banter, but it seems to me that movies, only so many movies. If you think about it from just an economics, numbers, stats perspective, only so many movies can literally be made in a year, and only so many movies can, and the budgets of movies are crazy. And so if you're a movie business person, you've got to go with a safe bet. So toys with a back end, that's a safe bet. Superheroes are been a safe bet for probably the last 20 years. um, Sci-fi, Star Wars. I mean, how many movies have they like just reinvented? Like we did the Star Trek thing, and now we have Star Trek again, and Captain Kirk is a different person, and it's an alternative universe. And you know, um, I think movies have found themselves in a box, and what happened was that lane that they owned completely fell apart with the advent of the internet and Netflix and cable television. Suddenly, anyone could make big, huge productions and make a lot of money doing it. And the movies were sort of stuck in a rut. So I think they're a victim of their own business model.
Well, I think also movies have become television too, to a certain extent, because, like I was saying, the cable channels are creating their own movies. For example, there's this really huge one out that has gotten a lot of really good reviews, whether you like it or not, but it's gotten a lot of good reviews. This recent one with Adam Sandler called Uncut Gems, which people felt was one of the best movies that they've been out
That was
for
released in
quite a
theaters,
while.
just so you know, actually.
Right, but it was a Netflix produced movie.
Oh yeah.
Right, it was like strictly Netflix, and I think they put it out in the theaters just to give it that option, for
Oh,
people that
they did
don't have
that.
Netflix. Yeah, but and they've had a few movies like that too, where it's just been strictly on Netflix. But Amazon has been doing their own movies, and this has kind of started back with freaking MTV. MTV was doing movies in the theaters as well.
Right.
So
That's
it's
right.
like, yeah,
MTV Productions.
yeah,
That's right.
and so it's like there's this interesting crossover where they're trying to throw quality, but with anything, there's certainly plenty of crap to go around. And I think if you look into the theaters, there's definitely great movies going on. For another movie that I'd heard a lot of good things about was this movie out of South Korea called Parasite.
It's
And
great.
okay, so you've seen that.
I seen it.
Right, and it was in the regular cinemas, right?
It's on Hulu.
It wasn't in an
Yeah, but
art
then it
house
got
though.
pulled because of the pandemic. So then now all the movies are on streaming now.
Right, but it wasn't. It was in the theaters, like
It
it
was
was.
in the
Yes,
theaters at the
it was a
time.
real theatrical
Right,
release, but
and so
now it's
you
not.
felt it was a really good movie. I really don't know anything about it, and I'm
Yeah,
sure if you said anything, it would probably spoil something. But I doubt I'll see
yeah.
because I have to be in a certain mood to watch subtitled movies. It's like, do I feel like reading a book today or not? And if I do,
Yeah.
then I'll watch a
But
subtitled
that
movie.
movie didn't do like it was. It probably made $20 million. It's like you'd have to. It probably
But we're
played in
not
art
talking about the
houses.
money. We're talking about the
Well, I'm talking about access. You couldn't see it at the mall, the local Cineplex, Odeon. It was played at the art houses. But when we were kids, those kind of adult films were number one. Films about
Well, there were lots of
serious
movies that
adult
you could only
things.
see at the art houses back in the day too.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they're the movies that you could see in every theater across America. Like I'm just saying, Deerhunter again, because that movie is not for kids. It's a very adult film about adult issues
that's why
and
it was rated
serious
R.
drama. Exactly, and it was
Because
like
that's why
a
movies were
huge,
rated R, Greg, because they weren't for kids.
yeah, and we don't have that
That's why
anymore.
Mary Poppins was rated G, but it
There's
was still
barely
a
any
really
rated R
popular
movies.
movie.
There's barely any rated R movies because it's like, no, we just want all these PG-13 so we can have the most mass audience. It's the
Yeah.
blockbuster mentality.
Well,
They
these
want every
days, though,
movie
PG
to be a
13 is
blockbuster.
like the old days R's were.
Yeah, probably is.
I don't know. So,
Well, do you think that again, going back to, I mean, who the hell goes to movies now anymore? Really? I mean,
Yeah,
is
I
I
haven't
go, I
in
go
a
at
while.
least 5 times a year
okay.
because part of my tradition with my kids on their birthdays is I take them out to a movie in a theater and we go have a nice meal somewhere. So, like every kid, I got 5 kids, so every birthday we're out, except for this during this quarantine when 2 of my kids had birthdays, and we basically rented movies off of Amazon. Don't you think so, Greg? Is that the way to go about doing things?
Yeah, when I had 5 kids, I used to do that too. I'm good at this.
But okay, so excluding the Barachi tradition of a movie and dinner with his kid on a birthday, which is very cool, by the way.
No, thank you.
Uh, you know, I will go to a movie. I will go to a movie if I feel like I need to see it on the big screen.
Right.
Meaning, this is some sort of epic. Again, going back to epic superhero special effects, whatever. It's something you need to see on a big screen to really appreciate that aspect of the art. Um, I'm not going to drop the amount of money that I need to pay to go see Deerhunter in a theater. But back when Deerhunter, since we seem to be stuck on that movie, back when Deerhunter came out, there were no other options to see Deerhunter but the movies.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think
You know,
because there's lack of options that's caused that too.
but
I think there's.
Oh,
No,
continue.
go ahead, finish.
I was just going to say Tarantino's last movie, which is in the similar '70s vein of movies that aren't slam bang special
This
effects, just
Once
about
Upon a Time
people.
in Hollywood, that one.
Yeah,
Okay, 'cause I was thinking
was so
Hateful Eight, but then I realized it's
yeah,
Once Upon a
I
Time.
was so excited. I wanted to see it in theaters, and I was glad I did. It was very fun seeing it with an audience. There's still a great thing about going to the movies, watching a movie with people. The laughter, the reactions. I still like going to the movies. I'm just cheap and poor, so
Well,
I
see,
can't afford it. It's a
I go to an
luxury.
art house pretty regularly when the quarantine wasn't happening, um, to see old movies as well as some first run movies too, because we had a local theater, and it's not part of a chain. It's just like a one-off theater that would do. You could see 2 movies for one on Tuesdays, and they had like discounts and they were inexpensive, and you could get pizza and beer, and
Yeah.
it's like a very comfortable place to go watch a movie. I would go to that almost any time over going to see one in a regular theater, like in the mall or something like that. And I hate going to movies at the mall. That's just not a.
They got those chairs now, though. They got like Barca loungers in the
Yeah, it's true.
cinemas now.
They've made it more comfortable in a couple of places. Yeah. So, but some
It's more
places
com-
no. Especially if you're a big fat ass like me and you can't fit in those seats anymore.
Yeah,
It's like
it's more
I'm basically in pain for 2 hours. As
it's more
I
comfortable than my house. I don't have chairs that nice or
You don't have a
so
chair
nice.
in your house. You
I
just
do have one chair. But it's a broken lazy boy that only works half. I can barely kick the thing up, the leg thing up.
I think movies have become. I think in a lot of ways, I think movies and what the content is on big screen and what we call movies is driven again by the people who go there. Like, the last time I went to a movie, I think I went and saw the last Star Wars in a movie. There was a few like old Star Wars nerds in the crowd, but it was mostly young people, and by young people I mean 20,
everybody
maybe
else.
26 to young, yeah, everybody else, 26 and younger, something like that. So,
Yes.
I mean, it's a date. There's something about going, taking the girl to the movie, and I think that's still, a thing.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not as
it is.
much a thing now. So, if I need to sell movies, I need to sell movies to 16 to 25 or whatever the age brackets are.
But maybe adults aren't going to movies because they're not giving us anything that we want to. I mean, I like seeing superhero movies too, but I'd like some good stuff. Every other movie, every fourth movie, like give me something to meat on its bones.
Well,
And it doesn't seem like there's anything out there.
those have definitely been out there. It's just a matter of whether you choose to go see them. Like there's been a recent adaptation, a new adaptation of another Jane Austen movie that went out. Jane Austen's story was at Emma, and there have been a number of movies that have come out.
I didn't say boring movies. I said adult movies.
Little
I don't want
Women.
to see boring
I
Oh,
was going to say, I
claptrap.
was already starting to fall asleep when I don't even know what he said.
Yeah, you said
I was
Jane
like,
Austen, and I was like,
Jane
I don't
Austen.
care.
well, there was a remake of The Invisible Man that was done that didn't necessarily get great reviews, but it was supposed to be a pretty good movie. Done with what's her name
Yeah,
from Handmaid's Tale, Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah.
she's in
There's
everything.
well, somebody needs to be right. There needs to be somebody in everything.
There you go, Handmaid's Tale, right there. It's on Hulu.
We're back to
Way better than, way
we
more
spent,
thought
we
provoking
spent
than any
so much
movie.
time on Handmaid's Tale last time.
That's because Greg kept bringing it up.
Yeah, I know.
The only
that was
reason I
bad.
brought it this time is to say it's that actress from that show. I should have said from West Wing. That's what I should have said.
Yeah, you would, and then I would have
Or
gone off on a
Mad Men.
tangent.
Right, or Mad Men. Mad Men or right. And so there's another great show that was on cable as well. Mad Men is a
Yeah.
fantastic show. So yeah, I mean, it's great. It's kind of like it's it's a second golden age of television, starting back essentially with The Sopranos, right? And and then heralded in essentially through HBO and through cable, because there have been some shows not on HBO that have been really good too, like Dexter and one show that I watched not that long ago, Black Sails. I really enjoyed. Weeds was a good comedy that was a long form show that was on Showtime.
We also can't discount the fact that because of the Soprano success, the stigma of working in TV is gone. So now we have major directors from the world of movies making TV shows now. That
Well,
was
and
not really
major
done when we were
actors
kids.
leading those
That too,
shows.
exactly.
Right.
That was when we were kids. It was like that was the end of your career if you were on TV. So it was
Yeah.
like Robert De Niro would be like, "I'm going to be in a TV miniseries."
But
You
there's
know,
still something to be said for movie stars, though. They do tend to have a little more cachet associated with them. And like if you're big in the movies, that makes you a bit bigger than being on the small screen.
yeah, but directors did too, like Sidney Lumet and all those great '70s, '60s directors. They never did TV after they got made it. They were like, that's slumming. Why
Well, I
would I
thought it
do?
was really interesting that Scorsese did a movie for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
There was that recent one about Jimmy Hoffa. What was it? What was the name of it?
The Irishman.
Yeah, it sucked. I
I disagree, but it's slow. It's very slow.
It's slow.
but I
I didn't
loved it.
think
there were
I
good
wouldn't.
parts about it, but I tell you, whenever they tried to make De Niro and Pacino look young,
Oh yeah,
that was the most ridiculous freaking thing that I've seen in a while, and it totally took me out of the enjoyment of the movie.
I saw an interview with them,
Because
and
De
they even
Niro was
admit,
not acting like a guy of that
yeah,
age. He was acting like a guy of his age who was made up to look like a guy of that age. It was just not. It wasn't working in
yeah,
that
they even
age.
admit it. They're like Al Pacino. There's one scene where he's supposed to be playing like 40-year-old Jimmy Hoffa, and he's 70, and he had
Yeah.
to get out of a chair. And there's a huge difference between the way a 70-year-old guy gets out of a chair. And they had to do 10 takes. They kept going like, "Nah, you're 64 now. We got to get you down to 40." The seventh take, they were like, "Almost 48."
And they think after 10, he's going to be able to do it easier.
He never came close. They just said, "Fuck it, we'll just suspension of disbelief." So hopefully, no one will notice.
Or maybe just
I was having a bad day that day as a
Just
40-year-old.
cut that scene out. Probably.
Yeah,
Would've been the best thing.
he twisted his ankle. They
Or
could have
maybe he
said.
just didn't get. Yeah, that would have been the way to do it. Like, oh, my leg is hurting. And then he would sound like an 80-year-old. Hey, my leg, it's hurting me. It hurts. It hurts. I can't get out of the
Oy
chair
vey.
now.
Yeah, The Irishman was not good. I watched it. I wouldn't say it sucked. Like there was enough that carried me through the slow ass, however the hell long it was.
Oh, it's kind of disappointing. It was
Three
kind
and
of
a half hours.
formulaic and from my point of view. But still, would you consider that TV or movies?
That's a good point.
What's the difference now?
That was Netflix. Yeah, that was TV. And I'm saying, I think that's
But
another
it's still
thing.
a
Is that
movie, right? So is
great
it a
directors like
movie of the week type movie, or is it?
whatever? That's part of TV. Like
Like my
Roots was
hands are like really big now because I'm
I
using
know.
my laptop camera.
like the anti-Trump.
Like,
But I'm saying that's yet another thing is now that directors like Scorsese would rather take The Irishman to Netflix because he knows they're not going to have studio heads saying, "Oh, 3.5 hours, you can't keep people in the seats that long, you got to trim it." He knew he had total carte blanche freedom as a director, as an artist, if you will. That's why he went to Netflix. He was
We
like,
will.
"I
Me
could
and
do
you
this
will.
movie." Did I say we?
Right. And that's part of the, I guess, I as a student of movies specifically and films.
Wait, you're a student of movies?
Yeah,
Movies are your teacher?
I am too.
Movies teach you?
They
Yes,
do.
they've taught me
What,
many
I
things.
studied them.
what have you learned recently from movies?
That Darth Vader is Luke's father.
I said recently.
Oh, recently.
That that if you watch a movie at the 20-minute mark, that's the key mark. You watch 20 minutes in any movie you want to watch it. 20 minutes in, something happens, major.
20, 20 minutes in, something happens. Yes, I'll agree with that. Something happens.
Significant, dipshit.
A door is
Significant.
opened.
I think that
Someone
was
opens a door.
implied, but we're getting back to that.
That actor took a nap at 20 minutes. So
Mr. Quibble.
that'd be like worth checking out, actually, just every 20-minute mark. What happens?
I swear to God, if you watch a movie that's 120 minutes to 160 minutes long, you will find that at the 20-minute mark, I've even set my little thing on Netflix and gone, let's just see.
Your little thing.
Yeah, I put my penis on the
Your ding-a-ling?
Uh-huh.
He set his little thing on it. The hell
When I
is-
put
what do you mean you set your little thing? What are you talking
when
about?
I move my cursor to the, let me explain it to you like you're 3 years old.
Please
So
do.
you know, there's
That's
a
all-
bar. There's a bar at the bottom that shows you the progress of the movie, right? You've
Okay.
seen that, Matt?
On Netflix?
On anything.
Generally, when I'm watching it, I don't see anything like that. I just see the movie.
Well, you need to pay attention.
Okay.
So there is a progress bar
I
at
guess
the
if I
bottom.
paused it, then I would see the bar. Yes.
Yes. Well, you can see the bar even if you don't pause it.
Oh.
So if you put your cursor there, you can see it moving along, and you can move the cursor to the 20-minute, 22-minute
Oh, you're watching stuff on your computer.
That's because that's all I do.
Oh, okay.
I don't fucking have a
That's why.
television.
That's why it wasn't making sense. No, because
Oh.
I stream through Roku to watch Netflix. So
Oh, I haven't had a television, an honest-to-God television in my house in probably 10 years, maybe
then
11.
you're unqualified to have this discussion.
But no, because I watch television. I just watch it on my computer now.
It's no longer television; it's computer vision.
Right. Well,
Okay,
and,
CV.
Does anyone? Sorry.
and it's a good point, Matt, because like half of the things you guys mentioned about what was on cable television and this show and that show, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about.
You don't know what you're missing.
Well, like for example, what do you mean you didn't know what we were talking about? What,
The Wire?
The Wire is on HBO. I think they started
Yeah.
putting it on Netflix or somewhere else. I haven't seen it. I really do want to, but I haven't seen it.
It was
Hannibal?
on Amazon for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then Amazon, well, I mean, it's still there for rent, but you can't watch it for free anymore. If
You
you
can't
have
watch it on
Amazon
Prime?
Right,
Yeah,
not anymore. I think most of the HBO shows they've taken off of Prime, the main
yeah.
ones. But if you've never seen The Wire, literally the best television show ever made.
I've
Literally.
heard that. I've heard that,
Yeah,
and I've
and that's
you
what
know,
makes it. But you have to. The first 6 episodes are hard to get through. It's kind of slow moving. You get through the first 6 episodes. From that point on, it becomes. And if you keep watching the other seasons, it becomes essentially the best television show that was ever made. And I mean,
right. And see,
above The
that's what,
Sopranos and above all the other ones, in my
okay.
opinion. So,
So that's the problem with a movie is a movie doesn't have that luxury. A movie can't drag out for 5 hours
right.
and
Unless it's some
hope
Polish auteur.
right and hope that you catch on.
Yeah.
Like I said, a movie's got about 20 to 30 minutes to catch you. If
Yeah.
it hasn't, that movie sucks. It's lost you.
All right. So when you're
I think
watching
that's.
your
Oh,
movies with your little thing, so what you're saying is that
Well, there are certain movies I watch with my little thing, and there are certain movies I don't. But sometimes I use my cursor and I watch the little progress bar.
sometimes he watches his big thing. He uses his big thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
just to clarify.
I noticed that your finger is also orange whenever you put it near the camera. Is
You know what I discovered the other night? And it doesn't have anything to do with that necessarily.
orange
Maybe
fingers?
that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Is I don't know what I bought a bag of those fire Cheetos.
Okay. The,
You know what I'm
the
talking
red
about?
ones?
The red ones, the hot
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what they use the Cheeto, powder on those. I
Uh,
have washed my hands coronavirus, 3 or 4 times. I still have like an orange tint on this hand.
Yeah,
I
that
used
stuff's like
I used
Sharpie.
to always call that stuff cheese cum. It would just, stick to your fingers. The stuff from Cheetos.
So have
That's
you had a lot of cum sticking to your fingers?
it's cheese. Cheese cum.
Cheese cum.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm saying
Not a lot.
you made the analogy, so obviously
That
this
was
is
simply an analogy, yes, because it's a similar
experience for you.
texture, I think.
Texture.
Yes,
You got some
Texture.
powdery ass. You got some
Yeah.
powdery ass. You
You're
need
all
to see a
dried up.
doctor.
it's after you go
Yeah.
through like a bag of it.
Drink some more water.
Drinks.
Something you need to hydrate, man. You need some milk.
Yeah.
That's all that shoots out of her. It's just powder.
It actually
dust
makes a
at this
puff
point,
sound. When you come, it goes.
So all of my children, all of my children are a little dusty.
They're little dust devils. That's what you call them.
Dust devils. Yeah. No.
So you pat them on the back, just comes off their shoulders.
They're ashy. They need lotion. This is something white people haven't figured out. You need lotion.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. It's a
Get a
true
little
statement.
ashy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were we? We were talking about something.
Well, I was
It
going to
doesn't-
mention, can I just add real quick, is that the streaming thing is also a very important thing in just like film history. The fact that just as there were short stories, and then the first person made the novel. I don't know if it was Cervantes or whoever, Daniel Defoe with
I
Robinson
need to
Crusoe.
tell you something really
And the fact
interesting
that
about
we-
Cervantes since you brought him up. Sorry to interrupt you, but I
That's
have
all
to do
right.
this
Well,
before
I
I
can
forget.
come back to it.
So my wife and I just recently watched 12 Years a Slave on TV, which is a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic movie. It came out in 2013. Definitely worth watching. And then I decided today to watch some weird little clip from some British guy who was saying 12 Years a Slave was not written by Solomon Northup, the main character. It was written by this white guy. And I looked it up, and he was a ghostwriter, but he took the information from the actual guy. Anyway, point being, he brought up Miguel Cervantes, the guy who wrote Don Quixote, was actually taken as a slave in Africa for 5 years of his life, and that it was a white European who was taken as a slave in Africa. And he's like, you're never going to see a movie called 5 Years a Slave about Cervantes. And I started thinking, actually,
I would make that movie.
that would be a pretty good movie.
It's fascinating.
It's like you
I
have the
didn't even
guy
know
who
there
wrote
were
Don
white
Quixote.
slaves.
Well, of course. I mean, Rome did that way back. They used to take
Oh,
slaves
I'm
of
sorry. I
everybody that
guess
they conquered.
in Europe time. Yeah, you're right. Rome had everyone as a slave. Every
Yeah, I mean,
conquered.
slavery was a common thing going throughout history, unfortunately.
I know there was indentured servitude, but I never heard of this guy's just his whole life a white slave in Europe. In the
Yeah.
1500s.
Right. So
Not taking
this is a
white
classic
slaves, I think.
example.
Go ahead.
This is a classic example of that sounds like a decent movie and a good screenplay, you'd never pitch that in Hollywood, but you might pitch it to Amazon or Netflix or Hulu or somebody like that. And that's part of the problem, is that Hollywood is just become this. It's like almost it's like an entertainment government.
They
It
just
can't.
want blockbusters.
They just need blockbusters, and they don't want to shake the boat. And the guy that plays the retard in the movie gets the Oscar, and that's the way it is. And here we go.
Wait, are you watching Tropic Thunder again? Is that what you're basing that off of?
No, Tropic
No, in
Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, they say you never go full retard. You don't get the Oscar. You just go three quarters. And plus, you know that that word is an offensive word to use. Although Greg would disagree with that. He's all about calling
I
it.
still don't use it because I know people find it offensive, but I think
Yeah.
I would
they
use
do
it
that.
with you guys. But I wouldn't use it in public.
Well, you're not with us. You're with
Greg,
all
I mean, Brendan, you
tens of
just
our
used it in
listeners.
public because
10
you
people are
just
going to
said
hear
it
this.
on a podcast that at least 20 people are listening to.
Well, then I would suggest they DM me at QSB Law Offices and tell me all the horrible things that I need to know about that on Twitter.
DM or tweet you.
They can tweet, they can DM. I mean, if they really want to get obnoxious, they can DM me. I don't care.
So
But
I've told Matt this before, that I think I'm going to go off and take this even further,
Oh, no.
is that I don't understand why retarded is so bad. It's a kind word. It just means slower. It's like,
Mhm.
that is a condition, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you change the name to is going to become a slur. Like when we were kids, they said, no, they're special. It took all us kids like a year to be like, special, you're special. Like we turned it into a pejorative, and then they had to change it again. So retarded isn't cruel. It means you're slow. You're a little slow. You're not like a moron. You're not fucking
But it's become
unteachable.
a pejorative.
Exactly, and it always will, no matter what you call
Well, lots
that
of words
condition,
were not
it will.
pejoratives when they started, and they have become that. There's certain words right now, if you use them, you will get in big trouble, but they weren't necessarily a pejorative when they started.
Because they're
It just-
describing things that are pejorative. They're things. It's not good to be retarded, whatever you want to call it, mentally handicapped. It's not a
Wait,
positive
did you
thing.
just say
Nobody's.
candy capped?
I hope I didn't. I think I said handicapped.
You're mentally handicapped. You've got
Well,
like a little Hershey's Kiss on top of your head.
No, it means you have a lack of candy, which I have no candy
You
in
get
my
a certain
house.
amount of candy and you don't get no more. You are
I feel
handicapped.
mentally handicapped
You
right
get
now.
no more than that
I
one
wish
level.
I had some candy
You get
in my house,
five
but I
Mr.
don't.
Good bars and that's it. You're done, or you get diabetes. You are handicapped.
So I'm just saying, no matter
Yes.
what you change the word to, every 20 years you're going to say, no, that word's now pejorative. Let's call it this. That word will become pejorative. In 20 years, you have to change it again.
Yeah.
Retarded isn't
That's
this
how-
cruel thing.
Well, it's become that cruel thing. Though.
It-
You
yes,
keep
it always
saying
will.
It is not,
But it always will.
But it is.
So what do you
is
want to call it?
It is to who? Who exactly?
To
I mean,
people who have children that are affected by that, they
Okay.
get very offended by their kids being called that, and it depends on how it's being used as well. You know,
Exactly.
I walk.
I mean, I
hold
don't think.
hold on. If I walk up to a woman who has a child with Down syndrome, let's say, and I say, "Oh, hey, your kid looks retarded." Yeah, I'm being an asshole.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to my friend at the bar
Yeah.
and I say, "Did you see that new policy about vacations?" That's fucking retarded. First of all, I'm referring to a policy, not a person.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just saying it's back. We can't take this too far. We're going to have zero humor. We're going to have zero entertainment. We're all just going to be worried about what everybody's saying.
I don't know about that. I don't know that we would be. I think it's just a
We
matter
can't
of
let those people
deciding
take
how
over the
much of
world.
an
That's all I'm
asshole we
saying.
choose to be. And that's, I think, really what it comes down to. I do know that, yeah, you can't take it too far. Prime example, you might have been in Washington, D.C. at the time this particular scandal happened. And I want everybody to hear me very, very clearly because I am not using a pejorative term. I'm using a word that has to do with being miserly and giving out money in small amounts. And that word is called niggardly.
You can't say that anymore.
Hold on, Greg. Niggardly. I just want everyone to hear that.
I know
So
the
that
word.
particular word was used by somebody at a committee meeting in Washington, D.C., and they essentially had to resign over the use of that word because it sounded so similar to the obviously very offensive word that begins
Yeah.
with the letter end too. So the reason why I was being very careful about that is so you recognize the difference. People who are could potentially be going up in arms about the
Well,
use
those
of the
people
word.
were ignorant.
Well,
They didn't know that
regardless of whether
their
ignorant,
They were
vocabulary was bad.
retarded.
but
They were fucking retarded. Those people.
but the thing is that it completely affected this guy's life because of
Sure.
that, right? And so
Yeah,
that's why it's going to continue to occur. So we have to find a way where there is a happy medium. If you start finding out that there are words that are incredibly offensive to people, it's not a bad thing to stop saying them. You could say something else, right?
I know.
And yeah, eventually it may become into another pejorative in and of itself, and then you shift again, and that's the nature of language. Language is fluid. Language changes. That's something that's
Yeah.
natural to humanity. Is that's why we have people who have a lot of different accents. That's why we have lots of different languages. Things changed along the way to mean
I do
different
that, Matt.
things.
I go along with the flow because I don't
Yeah.
want to piss people off. But like, it's
Yeah.
just getting ridiculous. Like, you can't say senior citizen anymore. It's honored citizen. And it's like,
Why, what do you mean you can't
see,
say senior
it
citizen
says that.
anymore?
I see that a lot of places where like please, like instead of senior citizen, they'll have some euphemism. Like, it's like,
Well, they're not.
yeah,
They're not
people
saying
make
you
fun of old
can't. They
people.
can't say you can't say senior citizen. They're just trying to make them feel better by calling them honored citizens. It's not.
Okay.
It's not designed to replace the word. It's just a different adjective. That's all.
So
Okay. I didn't know that.
what word am I supposed to replace retarded with?
Slow.
Stupid, I
I don't
guess.
know. Well, I don't
Slow.
know. It depends upon how you're using it. But I'm just saying, like the term retard is in and of itself the
Uh huh.
pejorative. Being retarded, once again, it does the word itself means slow, but the fact is that it has been used as a pejorative against a certain class of people. So, yeah, I mean, that's the question is, what else could you say instead? You could say that thing is stupid, and I don't think you'd be offending anybody.
What about stupid people?
Well, I think it depends upon the person that you're calling stupid. If it's a person who generally thinks okay, but they do something stupid, and you say that was stupid. Well, you go, okay, that was stupid. But I don't think you call them you're a stupid.
I
Or,
might.
although I've certainly given Greg my share of pejoratives over the last few episodes.
Oh God. Yes.
Here
All
and
that
there, I have been a
for
bull.
years.
Greg, I have bullied you in many ways, and I wish I could say I'm sorry about it, but
My sister's friend listened to the podcast. He's like, God, Matt really bullies Greg, and he's so mean to him. And it's like, no, you don't understand. They're good friends. That's their relationship.
oh, but it's true though. I
But
do.
if they didn't know that we were pals, it would sound like
I
you were
bully
just
you.
like calling me a retard
Yeah,
all the time.
the only reason I do it with you is because you can take it and you give it back to me,
Exactly.
and so
That's what friends
that's
do.
if you could say we're friends, because
Yeah,
again,
we're
I
acquaintances,
have no
colleagues.
friends. We've met recently, you know, occasionally, every once in a
Good
while.
to know. Good to know.
Who
I
are
know
you
where I
again?
stand.
What is your name? You're a stupid. Anyway, so
So this brings us
Oh,
all back to movies. How Mr. Show once had a fake award show called the Cyrus T. Dewey Awards. That was an award show just for retarded performances in films.
okay.
Since those are the ones
Are you talking
that
about like the
everyone seems to love.
raspberries?
No, it was Mr. Show's a comedy show. They were parodying that whole concept that any actor, at a bid for Oscar, they always do the full retard, as the movie says, as
Right from the Tropic
Tropic
Thunder.
Thunder.
Right.
But they did push it further, where there was a whole award show that was just every award was for like the best performance. They were all up against each other.
Well, it's
right.
All
interesting
the
bringing up Tropic Thunder just because, there's the whole issue of Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface in that
yes,
movie, and they're wanting to actually, if you believe in this term cancel culture, that they want to cancel out Robert Downey Jr. for having done that in that movie. And if they didn't see the movie, I can understand that, but if you see in the
yeah,
movie,
If you, well,
that
if
whole
you,
issue is addressed within the movie itself.
exactly, yeah.
well, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm gonna quibble with you on your words. If you believe in that, is this a religion? If you believe in cancel culture, like it exists or it doesn't exist.
Yes.
So you believe it, or is your proposition that cancel culture as a thing doesn't exist? It's
I
a
believe it.
myth.
I don't believe it exists. I think it's like something. I think it's a label that people have put on people basically boycotting things.
What
It's
about
just,
Louis
it's just,
C.K.?
it's just the new term. What
What?
about him?
No.
You just talked
He
about
got
him.
canceled.
Well, I mean, his show got canceled.
Yeah, his show
everything.
got canceled.
Every show,
That's cancel
comedy
culture.
performance, he got canceled.
He did whatever he did, and I'm not here to defend Louis C.K., although on the scale of 1 to 10 on what he did, if Jeffrey Epstein's a 10, he's got to be a 2 or a 3. But be that as it may, that guy lost his job. His whole career was over. They almost ended another comedian because he had kind of an awkward date, and everybody went ape shit about that. So to say that cancel culture doesn't exist, if you don't like the term, fine, or if you think it's overused, that's okay too. But to think for a second that it doesn't exist in our current society, that if somebody does something wrong, that Twitter can't go fucking ape shit on them and they could lose their job. I mean, you just mentioned an example where the guy said the word niggardly, which doesn't have anything to do with the other N word. He lost his job. That was just an early precursor to what we've come to now.
Well, I don't know that it's an early precursor. It's something that's been around for a long, long time. It's just now it's more pronounced because of the internet.
Bigger now.
Well,
it's definitely bigger now.
But I think because now there is this revolutionary process of thought that is going on, right? There's things that have changed so dramatically in terms of just human rights violations and civil rights violations and abuse and assholeness against people who did nothing to deserve any of that. And even in the Me Too movement is totally valid as well in terms of what Louis C.K. did. Fuck him. I mean, you want to give him a 2 or a 3? No, he can be up there with like near Epstein. He was whacking off while people were having.
You're saying this is exactly my problem. You're saying as a power as a fake lawyer, you're saying that that trafficking underage girls and having them have sex with multinational political leaders and videotaping it is the same as calling a girl on the phone and saying, "Hey, I'm jerking off right now."
No, he wasn't calling.
He didn't just do that.
First of all, he wasn't calling them on the phone.
He did that in front of them
with him.
Yes.
Okay, that's much
I'm not
different.
saying that was all, but I'm saying that that's an.
I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I'm saying that it needs to be.
It's not even close.
It's
a matter of degree. It's still bad. It's still bad.
It's still
Let's all agree. It's a bad thing to do.
It's a bad thing to do. It's poor taste.
I'm fine. I didn't want to actually get into that particular detail about what Epstein got involved. The only point I'm trying to make is that he deserved to be castigated and publicly shamed for it. That's what he deserved.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree with a lot of
Epstein,
the
I don't know if
stuff.
it was illegal. Epstein should go to jail, and whether he killed himself or not, I don't really give a shit. The fact is, I'm actually happy the guy's dead. I don't know why anybody cares. Anyway,
and Brendan, I would just like to say, like, even though I'm so annoyed by some of people on my side of the fence who get so sensitive and want to censor things and cancel things, coming around back in the 40s or something, where people could just run around just like yelling racial slurs at people.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not. I get what you're saying. I totally.
But I'm annoyed too by some of this culture that's going on. I'm bamboozled because there's always their side that wanted to censor things. As I'm a flaming liberal, I'm a pinko, so I'm like, wait, my side wants to censor shit? That's not the way it's supposed to work. I thought the basics of liberalism was free speech. That's the core.
Right. That's my
no
point.
Censoring.
So it's like who what censorship do you want? Do you want censorship at the hands of the church, or do you want censorship at the hands of a bunch of college professors or wild, crazy people on Twitter?
Well, I wouldn't mind censorship of people like hate speech. Yeah, censor that. Anyone could, any side censor that. I'll be happy with that. I don't want people hurting other people's feelings and being dicks.
Sure.
But also,
I'm not even necessarily interested in the censoring of the people. I'm just interested in there being the fair play. In other words, if you're going to say the things that you say, then you need to be able to accept those consequences.
Right? Well, where does that start and end?
Yeah,
that's a different podcast. We could bring that up into something like we could go into the concept of censorship and where does it begin, where is it, and maybe we should do that for like another episode. Right, Greg?
Put a pin in it for the next episode.
Put a pin in which, Greg?
In what you just said.
What did I just say?
That could be the censorship issue.
Okay, good. Just checking.
And cancel culture. We could go into this more, or we could just go into this anyway because TV versus movies wasn't that great a client, to be honest.
Well,
this is way more interesting to me talking about this shit.
Well, it's
getting very. Bring it back around how we got here. How we got here was that I was suggesting
Something is going on
before we
with
got
the
on to
signal.
Robert Downey Jr. and cancel culture, I was suggesting that Hollywood is more confined by those issues than television is, or let's say cable streaming services are. So they can do stuff that's way more controversial, way more out there, whereas a movie is under much more stricter regulation, I guess, even if it's self-imposed.
I think it's economically imposed. They just want blockbusters, so they can't afford to offend anyone. They want 80% of people to like the movie and not be pissed off. Netflix, streaming, even network TV can more niche. Can we like, some people aren't going to like this. This might be offensive or a little too out there.
I think these
But
days people are just still trying to find a common ground for themselves in terms of what to be offended by, what to believe. Right? What is it? What's the thing that's supposed to upset me these days?
That's true.
What am I allowed to be upset by? You know, and
I know what I'm upset by.
What's that, Greg?
Unmarked minivans, Gestapo tactics in
There-
Portland,
Soccer
snatching
moms
people
have,
off the streets.
Soccer moms have been driving unmarked minivans for years.
I wish they were soccer moms, but they're
Wouldn't that be
federal
funny if they
agents.
were the ones who are actually doing the kidnapping of the protesters on the streets of Portland?
and just giving them baths and
it's
haircuts.
actually the Karens. The Karens have organized into bands, and they're taking back America.
That's right. They're basically rounding up the protesters and hitting them all on the back of their wrists with wooden spoons. Is what's
Right.
happening. Greg, you're muted again. What is going on? Your face is going in and out of the screen. And
Don't worry about it.
I
It's none of
worry
your
about-
concern.
No, there was a concern because there was something happening with the signal where I don't know if you guys knew this or not. You guys totally froze on me.
I saw that.
And you were in the middle of a thought or something, Greg, and it just froze. And so I'm afraid that that's going to affect the.
A friend
recording
just
of it.
called me too, and I had to it zoned out for a second.
Oh,
You know, it's
yeah, that'll do it.
interesting, Matt, that you should mention that, because when that froze happened, I could see Greg moving around, because God knows he's always moving around.
Yes.
You were frozen, but
Okay.
he wasn't, for whatever that's worth.
Well, yeah, everything was frozen on my screen for a few seconds, and I'm like, oh no, I need to find a way to get this resolved. And
Maybe
as I was
when I
about
mute.
to set it up on my phone, then it came back to normal. So
Maybe when I mute, it does something.
no,
I don't know.
it had to do with my own signal.
Okay.
My own internet signal. I mean, I'm hardwired, and I use Ethernet just to try and maintain the stability. But yeah, there was a bit of an instability going on with my internet. Anyway, well, I think we've had a pretty elevated discussion here. Maybe we should deal with the censorship issue in the next podcast. What do you guys think?
Sure, but we're gonna piss off a lot of people. That's for sure.
Well, I think this particular episode, I think those people who listen to it, if they don't have thick skins, there will be some people being offended by, I think, something
oh, definitely.
each of us had said at any point in this particular podcast this time around. But hey, why don't we take a break
Well-
to see how much money we've made so far?
Yes, let's do that.
So at this point, wow, we've gone over 207 total plays. So
Wow.
that's a marker. We have an estimated audience of 30 people.
Woo!
Fascinating, actually. And we've made $1.70 so far.
Wait, does
Okay.
that mean that 30 people are listening to it 7 times?
They could mean one person has listened to it 200 times, and then the other
Oh.
29 people have listened to it. The other
Yeah, that's more likely.
Right. No, so we'll do the breakdown. So our last episode has already gotten 17 plays, which is more, I think, than any other episode had over the course of a week. The fourth client is doing quite well. Idiocracy is now has gotten 35 plays. Our third client, Song Lyrics on Trail, got 26. Second client, both parts, have gotten 31 and 33 plays, respectively. And then our first client, which was Favorite Ethnic Foods, has gotten 47 plays.
And what was the client of last episode that got the
Last
most
episode
plays?
It has
Say
got
it.
the most plays.
Sex sells.
Always.
It does. Apparently it does.
Well, it's only got 17 plays. It still is.
it's got
has
more.
to
You
get
said
to
the
be-
most.
No, I said it's gotten more than others have at this stage, but that doesn't
That's
mean
Oh.
it's
Yeah,
because
because
of the
people will
topic.
go back and listen
Yeah.
to others.
Yeah, it doesn't mean for this particular because of that particular topic.
Okay, I think
It
our
just
next
means-
client should be sexy lingerie. Everything should be about sex from now on, and we'll see if our numbers get bigger.
I think it'll probably get desensitized, only unless
My
we all
nipples.
start wearing. How did we? You know, we didn't have to. We didn't have to devolve into that particular topic.
Oh, we already have. We got nowhere to go but
We were having an actually
up.
quasi-intellectual discussion,
Hmm.
maybe even more pseudo-intellectual.
Pseudo. I prefer
Pseudo.
Yeah,
pseudo.
yes,
Alt
alt
intellectual.
intellectual discussion about topics we have our own points of view on. So,
Maybe
anyway,
that's what we should promote ourselves as alt intellectuals.
I don't
Yeah,
know that I like the term alt.
I don't, and that's why I like calling us that. Because
Uh,
I
We
we
might
know
get
if
a
I
whole.
we were
We
coming
might
up
get a
with all
whole.
sorts of names before when we were thinking about putting this together. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker was just kind of a thing that I came up with one day by accident, and then Greg was like, "Yes, I like it." But we had other stuff like mansplaining. That was like going to be one potential one, and then there was like old cranky idiots was I think another potential.
I don't want to be an old cranky idiot just yet. I'm only 51, dude. We can
well,
hang
I'm
that.
I hate
52.
to tell you, you're 4
I've
years
become
away
one.
from honored citizen discounts.
Honored citizens
At
discounts. I'm
Luby's
okay with
cafeteria.
being called an old cranky man. I'm not ready to. Somebody gives me some discounts. I'm all for it.
You're above middle age, my friend. You're
I'm
definitely
I'm
on the you're
I'm,
on
I'm aware of how math works. I got it.
Yeah.
so that
I'm
makes you
becoming
old.
crankier though. I see it in myself. I have like less patience with shit that pisses me off. It's like scary. Like I'm gonna be that old guy. Like get off my lawn. I'm like, fuck. How did I
Yeah,
make
if you had a lawn to get people off,
exactly? No, I do.
you're
My
like, get off
apartment
my
does have
stoop. Why are you
get
hanging
up,
out there?
get off the alley where my I live in the dumpster. Get out of my alley.
You live in a dumpster?
Oh, I'm sure people imagine that when they hear me talk.
You're
It's a
like, oh,
pretty good
Greg,
looking dumpster.
he's a dumpster living guy.
I've had people think I was a hobo the way I dress. I'm very slovenly.
I think a hobo doesn't get used enough these days. The term hobo.
Apparently,
Do
it's
they still
offensive.
carry the stick with the bag on the end? Is that still a hobo
The
tradition?
bindle, is that called a bindle? I
Let,
think.
Is
let's
it?
just say it is. I think so, but I don't remember.
I think in cartoons it is, but no one's ever done that. Just like an organ grinder and a monkey, that's never existed. It's just exists in cartoons.
I think organ grinders and monkeys did exist,
I don't think I've never seen a
and I
photo
think
of
they
one.
might still exist actually in New York City.
Never seen a photo of one. Never seen one. Have you?
I've seen photos.
You have seen photos.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
I never
they
have.
may have been movie stills.
What
Yeah,
happened was that the organ grinders and the monkeys got canceled because they were subjecting the monkeys to oppression
yeah. Those
by
monkeys
making
did
them
not have good
perform.
lives.
Monkey
Believe me,
slaves.
those
Monkey
monkeys were
slaves.
beaten a
Yeah.
lot
And
to
what kind of
perform.
organs were they grinding anyway? And it's like
The
was it
monkey's
like
organs,
Kidneys.
probably.
like
Yeah,
the liver and the kidney
the
of the
They
the
were
monkey?
they were
previous monkey.
grinding they were grinding Louis C.K.'s organs. Those were the organs that were being ground.
Right. Well, on that note, I think we've come to a good conclusion. It's like whose organs get to be ground? Yeah, there's a lot of hate going on out there. I think maybe we should finally bite the bullet and address it in the next episode.
Everyone's
Well,
gonna want to hear what three guys over 50 have to say about
That's
the
right,
issues.
because we are the enemy. So it's like, what do we have to say? It means
Exactly.
nothing. We are cancel culture because we cancel ourselves.
oh, we're the absolute worst.
But you know, that's the part of the preview that I mentioned to people is that our opinions don't mean anything. It's like it's just our opinions. We don't expect anybody to believe it or to agree with it or anything. If it's slightly entertaining, cool. Listen to it more often. If it's
I
not
just hope they don't
entertaining,
hate me for it. That's all I care about.
basically, people, if you don't like us, fuck off. That's really what it comes down to.
That's my attitude in life.
I want that 1,000 people that really are like, yeah, these guys get me.
It's all
I
going to
can
be
get
like
money out of those people.
disillusioned libertarians. That's probably what it's going to be.
It's not a, there's quite a bit of those. That's not a small marketplace.
Yes, so much disillusionment in this world. But it's like revolution is in the air, to quote Bob Dylan. It's
Ron Paul is a listener.
I don't think that Ron Paul is. I doubt very
He
much.
loves us.
Sure, yeah, Ron and Rand together, they link arms and they listen to us
Who was that little elf
religiously.
guy in the '80s who ran for president? Lyndon LaRouche. Wasn't he a
No, you're
libertarian?
talking about Ross Perot.
Thank you, Hospiro. That's the word. But
No,
yeah,
no,
Those are
Perot is
so different
independent.
people.
yeah, but was he a libertarian kind
No,
of?
Perot
No.
started the Reform Party.
Yeah.
And I remember he had charts a lot. He liked graphs and charts.
He
That's all I
did.
remember about him.
Yeah,
And he looked like an elf.
he was an interesting guy. But
He's a
that's
pixie.
sure.
He was a smarter Trump.
He was one of the first billionaires running for president, is what he was.
Ah.
I don't think he was a billionaire, but he had a lot of money. He
Yeah,
was
a lot of
close,
money.
close to a billion. All right, so thank you guys. We're going to, I think, just end off here, and I will stop recording now.